Well, Superman has his fortress of solitude, and Bruce Wayne, he's got the Bat Cave, and me, the Menzoid, I've got the Menzoid Man Cave, a place to sit back, chill out, talk about the issues of the day, and I'm very happy to have back in the Man Cave crime specialist and former Toronto police cop, Ross McLean. Welcome back, Ross.
Good to be back, David.
Fantastic. Always a pleasure when you're here. Now, Ross, of course, what's in the news, it's actually making international headlines now, is this infamous videotape, allegedly, of Toronto's Mayor Rob Ford involved in some consumption, shall we say, of an illicit substance. Everything's alleged. We don't know if this is real. We don't know if this is being fabricated, etc. But on a more macro level here, when we look at something like a videotape that has captured an alleged illegal act in process, what is the legality, in this case of these drug dealers, of selling it? I mean, how does that work in terms of the eyes of the law?
It's murky grounds, David. It's murky grounds. I believe in this case, it probably very likely is illegal. But let me make the distinction for you.
You mean the sale of the tape is illegal?
The sale and perhaps the buying of the tape is illegal as well. Let me try and explain the difference to you.
Okay.
Let's look at the Kennedy film, the Zapruder film.
Yes.
The person who filmed that had no association with the criminal act involved in killing the president. Nothing to do, just a filmer. He can sell that. He had no involvement. There's no criminal act that he was involved in that he would profit from. You look at this crazy alleged video, alleged this, it's all alleged. We don't really know much.
Right.
It appears to have been done by people who were engaged in selling crack cocaine. They were drug traffickers who claimed that they brought the drugs and sold the drugs to the mayor.
Right.
That's what they claim. And then they videoed it. Well, the selling of the drugs is a criminal act. It's an indictable criminal act that they're involved in. Now, them shooting the video of that and then going to sell it, that's profiting from a criminal act.
And do we indeed have a law in this country where this is verboten?
There are. It's called money laundering and proceeds of crime.
Okay.
There's a couple of factors that need to be, it gets a little bit legal here for dealing with it, but you have to have been convicted of the crime before they can apply the proceeds of crime. But what we don't know about these criminals, I have no doubt the police have arrested them and dealt with them before. That's my guess. I mean, I don't know that. They know who the drug dealers are. So if the police have them up on charges, they were charged, or they may still be charged for dealing coke out of this. That's an indictable act. The only reason that video is valuable is because it's a criminal act that they did. So if they try to profit from that, that's considered proceeds of crime. And
they certainly would be profiting. I mean, the asking price, Ross, of course, is $200,000. It started at $20,000, by the way. Gawker, as of Thursday morning, I think they had exceeded the $120,000 mark in terms of soliciting donations. This is very curious what you said earlier. If a media organization or the likes of a Gawker did buy it, then what happens? Is someone actually charged for buying this?
Listen, they very well could be. That's why they better speak to their lawyers and get it straightened out. One of the things with proceeds of crime is what they're in fact doing is they're helping convert the proceeds of a criminal act, a video of someone doing something, they're helping them convert that into money. So what they're doing is in fact could be called laundering the money. They're converting criminal property into cash. That's the same as the banks who take drug money all the time. They can't do that. They'll be charged with laundering the money. And
there's also, I guess, a federal government component here when it comes to the GST or HST or what have you. A $200,000 sale, that's thousands of dollars in taxes that has to be paid. They're going to want their piece of the action, I assume.
Oh, and you can't even look at it. If you try and take more than $10,000 across the border at once, and you can't explain where it came from, the government can seize it.
Yes.
I mean, there was one poor guy out in Vancouver. He went across with $9,995. He thought he was okay. He didn't have to claim it. The exchange rate changed that day, and it was worth more than $10,000. They seized the money, and he never got it back.
Oh, my goodness.
So when they're going to bring in this money, and that's even if you wire it in. I mean, there's laws that's for dealing with organized crime and terrorism. That's what these laws are for. So I would suggest everybody involved better speak to their lawyers. The chief of police in Toronto has already said they're going to be watching this. And he made a statement something similar to, if any criminal act arises out of this transaction, we will be acting on it.
And also, Ross, an important point to make here, if this video does come into the public realm and it shows the mayor smoking something that's alleged to be an illicit substance, that's not good enough for the police to lay charges against the mayor. I mean, because I would imagine the argument could be that's anything in that pipe, air.
That's exactly why. One of the components, if you're going to charge someone with an illegal substance, is you have to have the substance tested. That's why when people get charged with impaired driving, they have to give a breathalyzer so they can prove there's alcohol in your system.
So there has to be some toxicology report. It's not a videotape or photographic evidence. That's not good enough.
Right. You have to define how it was done, and they test for that.
Wow.
And so that would need to be done. I mean, it's an allegation. You wouldn't get a charge out of it. You wouldn't. But the question here is, this is all very murky grounds.
Yeah.
And the government will want to deal with this, because what do we want now? Criminals out videotaping people being hit on the head and calling media companies and saying, hey, do you want to buy the video?
Indeed.
Are we going to encourage criminals and criminal acts? And these, look at, there's been homicides out of that area. Lots of homicides associated with it. There's a homicide actually associated with the one guy in this video, which that hasn't been investigated yet either. And if there's any tie between the video and that homicide, trust me, these laws will come into play.
Well, in the days ahead, we might have a precedent-setting case ahead of us. Ross, thank you so much for coming on and explaining the nitty-gritty about the sale of this video, if it ever does go through. And folks, keep it tuned to Menzoid Mornings. More coming up right after this.